When the System Fails: The Revolutionary Rise of Black Women Entrepreneurs. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Dr. Keisha Hamilton, a visionary researcher and advocate whose groundbreaking work has illuminated one of the most powerful yet underreported economic revolutions happening in America today. What makes Dr. Hamilton's work so revolutionary isn't just her meticulous documentation of Black women entrepreneurs, it's her ability to reframe what many see as insurmountable barriers into portals of possibility. Her research doesn't just collect data, it rewrites narratives and reshapes futures. In a world obsessed with problems, she illuminates solutions born from the very community society has systematically underestimated. What I'm about to share with you challenges everything we think we know about obstacles, opportunity, and the true nature of innovation. We've all heard the statistics. The gender pay gap that persists decade after decade, the rising unemployment rates that disproportionately affect communities of color, the venture capital funding that flows overwhelmingly to white male founders, less than 1% reaching Black women entrepreneurs despite their growing numbers. These are the barriers we talk about, the problems we analyze, the challenges we lament. But here's what we're missing: Black women are not just surviving these barriers, they're transforming them into launch pads for one of the most dynamic entrepreneurial movements in America today. This is the counterintuitive truth that Dr. Hamilton's research has revealed. Sometimes exclusion becomes the catalyst for extraordinary creation. Let me share some numbers that might surprise you. As of 2024, there are nearly 2.7 million businesses owned by Black women in the United States. This represents the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the country, outpacing every other group. Between 2014 and 2019 alone, the number of businesses owned by Black women grew by 50%. 50%. Now, conventional wisdom would suggest that such growth happens when systems become more inclusive, when barriers fall, when opportunities expand. But Dr. Hamilton's research tells a different story. This explosion of entrepreneurship isn't happening because the system suddenly started working better for Black women. It's happening precisely because it didn't. The corporate world's persistent failure to create equitable environments, the lack of advancement opportunities, the pay inequity, the microaggressions, the cultural taxation hasn't crushed ambition. Instead, it has redirected it. As one entrepreneur told Dr. Hamilton, when they wouldn't give me a seat at their table, I built my own table. And now they're asking for an invitation. This is the first profound insight from Dr. Hamilton's work. What looks like a closed door can actually be a redirect to a better path, one you create yourself. Consider Morgan DeBon, founder of Blavity Inc. After working at Intuit, Morgan recognized a glaring gap in media representation for young urban millennials. The mainstream platforms weren't serving this audience authentically. Rather than continuing to push against this closed door, Morgan decided to create her own doorway. She started Blavity from her living room with friends who shared her vision. With limited access to venture capital, a common barrier for young Black women founders, she bootstrapped operations initially. She leveraged the power of social media and community to build virality before eventually attracting strategic investors who aligned with her mission. Today, Blavity reaches millions each month across multiple platforms, including Afro Tech, which has become the largest tech conference for innovators of color. Morgan didn't just build a company, she created an ecosystem that empowers thousands of others. As Dr. Hamilton emphasized in our conversation, the brilliance of what Morgan accomplished wasn't just overcoming barriers, it was recognizing that the very gap in the market that excluded her community represented an untapped opportunity with massive potential. This pattern repeats across industries and sectors. Take B. Dixon, founder of the Honey Pot Company. B's entrepreneurial journey began with a personal health crisis, bacterial vaginosis that mainstream products couldn't address. Instead of merely lamenting the lack of effective natural feminine care products, she created her own, drawing on ancestral remedies passed down through generations. When B approached major retailers, she faced skepticism about consumer demand for her products. Later, when she was featured in Target's first commercial highlighting a Black woman entrepreneur during Black History Month, she navigated intense backlash online. How did she respond? Not by retreating, but by doubling down on authenticity. She educated consumers through transparent storytelling about ingredients and her personal journey. She cultivated direct to consumer sales channels alongside retail partnerships. The result? The Honey Pot became one of Target's fastest growing natural feminine care brands nationwide. B expanded into over 20,000 retail locations across North America by focusing precisely on the underserved markets that others had overlooked. As Dr. Hamilton noted in our interview, B it didn't just fill a gap in the market, she normalized conversations around reproductive health equity while opening doors for more diverse founders within consumer packaged goods sectors. This brings us to the second key insight from Dr. Hamilton's research. The very challenges that might seem like disadvantages can become powerful differentiators in the marketplace. The experiences of exclusion, of not being adequately served by existing products or systems, create a unique vantage point. This perspective allows entrepreneurs to see opportunities that others miss and to design solutions with a depth of understanding that others lack. Perhaps no story illustrates this more clearly than that of Jewel Burke Solomon, founder of Part Pick. While working at McMaster Car Supply Company, Jewel witnessed firsthand the daily friction customers faced when trying to identify replacement parts, a problem disproportionately affecting small and minority owned businesses that lacked resources or technical expertise. Rather than accepting this inefficiency, Jewel created Part P Pick, a visual recognition software company that simplified part identification processes. But securing funding proved difficult due to the underrepresentation of both women founders and tech innovators of color. She also faced skepticism about AI applications outside Silicon Valley norms. Undeterred, Jewel relied heavily on community pitch competitions and grants early on. Her breakthrough came when she won TechCrunch Disrupt Atlanta, which brought visibility and then investment from angel networks supportive of diverse talent pools. The outcome? Amazon acquired PartPick in 2016, integrating its technology into their core search functionality used worldwide. Jewel went on to become Amazon's head of startups, focusing on diversity initiatives post acquisition. As Dr. Hamilton emphasized, Jewel's success proved that scalable innovation is possible even without traditional gatekeepers' approval and showed how culturally competent solutions can disrupt global industries when given support. This leads us to the third and perhaps most powerful insight From Dr. Hamilton's research, true empowerment comes not from fighting for inclusion in existing systems, but from building new platforms where authenticity, leadership, and legacy can thrive without compromise. The traditional narrative around diversity and inclusion focuses on getting more underrepresented people into existing institutions and power structures. And while representation matters deeply, Dr. Hamilton's research reveals a complementary path, creating entirely new structures designed from the ground up to reflect different values, priorities, and ways of operating. When Black women build their own businesses, they don't just create jobs and generate wealth, though they certainly do both. They establish new models for what work can look like, how leadership can function, how products can be developed, and how communities can be served. They're not just participating in the economy, they're transforming it. This isn't about giving up on making existing systems more equitable. It's about recognizing that sometimes the most revolutionary act is to create something entirely new rather than trying to reform something fundamentally flawed. As Audre Lorde reminded us, the master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Sometimes we need to build our own houses with our own tools, according to our own blueprints. What's particularly striking about the entrepreneurs in Dr. Hamilton's research is how they've leveraged their success to create opportunities for others. Morgan DeBond's Afro Tech Conference has become an essential platform for Black tech talent. B.A. Dixon's success has opened doors for more diverse founders in consumer packaged goods. Jewel Burke Solomon's role at Amazon has allowed her to support other startups led by founders from underrepresented groups. This is what Dr. Hamilton calls the multiplier effect. When one Black woman breaks through barriers, she typically doesn't just secure her own success, she creates pathways for others to follow. So, what does all this mean for you? Whether you're a Black woman entrepreneur yourself, someone from another underrepresented group, or someone with relative privilege in existing systems, it means we need to fundamentally rethink how we view obstacles. What if the barriers you're facing aren't just challenges to overcome, but signposts pointing you towards your unique contribution? What if exclusion isn't just something to fight against, but potentially a redirect towards something better? It means we need to reconsider what true empowerment looks like. Is it gaining acceptance in systems that weren't designed for you? Or is it creating new systems that reflect your values, priorities, and vision? And it means we need to expand our understanding of innovation. Some of the most groundbreaking innovations aren't happening in well funded labs or venture backed startups, but in the creative responses to exclusion and necessity. As Dr. Hamilton so powerfully stated in our conversation, the most disruptive innovations often come from those who have no choice but to disrupt. I want to leave you today not just with information, but with a challenge. Look around you. What systems are failing? What tables are missing chairs? What voices aren't being heard? And most importantly, what will you build in response? Because the revolution we're witnessing isn't just about Black women entrepreneurs, though their leadership is undeniable. It's about all of us recognizing that sometimes the greatest power comes not from fighting to belong in spaces that weren't built for us, but from creating entirely new spaces where everyone can truly thrive. The next time you face a barrier, remember these women. Remember that what looks like rejection might actually be redirection. Remember that your unique perspective The very thing that makes you different might be your greatest asset. And remember that sometimes the most powerful response to a system that fails you is to build something better. The future doesn't belong to those who wait for permission. It belongs to those who recognize that sometimes the greatest opportunity lies on the other side of exclusion. It belongs to those brave enough to build their own tables when no one offers them a seat. What will you build? Thank you